Hey everybody, it's John. Welcome to the show. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge the Lakers on their incredible playoff run so far, and we hope they're going to win that championship. And listen, one of the things you could do to keep up with us is follow us on Instagram, Facebook at Comedy Food Truck, or you could subscribe to our YouTube channel. I almost said Rubik's Cube channel. You could subscribe to our YouTube channel. Either way, we'd love to hear from you and know you, and we'd love for you to follow us, and we'd love to follow you back. So do what you got to do, and what do they say? Do the do? Do the do. And listen to the show. Here it is. And by the way, it's new. See what I did there? It rhymes. Enjoy the show.
Good for you. Earlier, and I had one right now.
You're listening to the Comedy Food Truck Podcast. We talk life, food, relationships, and have fun with all of it.
Remake.
And now here's your host, comedian John Hill.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is a Comedy Food Truck Podcast coming at you. Wow, it's like a club atmosphere in here, man. Hey. Gonna break into YMCA. Scott's gonna do the motions.
Apple bottom jeans and the.
Oh gosh. I hate you.
There we go. There we go.
No.
Wow. Just falling into sound effects hell. It's crazy. The kind of stuff the Russians did to mess with people's minds. Right. It was like mind control stuff. I don't know why I said the Russians, but whatever. Pick your favorite, Yeah.
Pick your favorite.
What is that called? My words are just jumping out of my head, man.
It's old age.
All right.
Something. Brain fog. Everybody blames everything on brain fog now, too. Brain fog. Like,
Dame Bramage.
No.
It's menopause.
Yeah, it's...
How you menopausal?
You could call it brain fog or frog, or you can call it menopause.
Yeah.
I call it for what it is. You dumb.
I just got that little spinny circle. Buffering.
Right.
We had this guy at work that would walk across the compound and he'd stop about halfway and just literally just like freeze, like mid-step, just you'd look at him and he'd start walking again.
Huh.
It's like, is he buffering?
Does he have epilepsy?
It's
Like, nope. It was an older guy, and he was on some kind of heart medication, and they changed his medication. He doesn't do it anymore. You're right.
He's just checking.
Yeah.
He's still there?
Oh. It's like, why is he stopped? Oh, there he goes. He's moving again.
Did they change his medication, or is he a video character in your Matrix world? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's a glitch.
It's like Free Guy.
Yeah.
You see that show?
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to the show. Let me introduce everyone who's with us. The same people. I know the audience always yells at this point. They're like, okay, take forever, and then you introduce people. We already know.
Who's on?
We already know everybody's on.
The shoe.
What if we have a great interview today for somebody, We don't, but what if we did?
Yeah.
What if we did?
I almost got my hopes up.
Hold on, I got to change my medication.
John's
buffering. I'm buffering.
Everybody just check their volume right now. They're like, did it just pause? Did it pause? Why did it stop playing? Let the podcast stop. We got to do that.
That's funny.
We got to do that. No, we're still here. Don't push any buttons.
That's hilarious. So, anyway, Jared, how you doing, man? Hello. It's good to see you and on the show once again, which is an ironic, well, I don't know if it's ironic. It's a weird statement because there is no show if Jared's not here.
I got all the equipment in my house.
Just be us talking in our bathrooms. Nobody listening.
On the phone.
Rolling up my bathroom window, hoping my neighbor's listening. They're out on the porch smoking. Hold on, it's time for the podcast.
Who are you talking to? Shut up.
Be more of a podcast than
a podcast. On both counts, because I'm on the pot and they're smoking pot. That's what's going on.
It's a pots cast.
Yeah, that's good.
Weed indeed.
And then Scott, you're with us, buddy. How are you doing?
Hello, fellow podcast hosts.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody today?
Buffering. How are you?
Lovely time, Governor.
Smashing.
Tremendous.
I just can't do the colonial accent. I can't do it. You guys are so good at
colonial.
it. Colonial. What country are we taking over today?
This is more of a colonic accent, I think.
Colonic.
Right.
That's funny. No,
Yeah.
because that's what they sailed over and thought they discovered something. You know, remember one of the ships was the Pina Colada.
Yeah.
They get caught in the rain.
I thought it was the Pina Colonic.
The Pina Colada. If you can colonic a pina, sure.
Wow.
So Ray's also here.
Groovy, baby.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. Ray went to the 60s.
Yeah.
The Lost in Powers sound,
Yeah, baby.
sort of.
Stop it.
Okay. Wow. That was awkward.
How's that, Jared?
Wow. So,
Muffy.
so I just wanted to talk a little bit about some stuff. Today,
Oh, Lord.
Today on a
We-
very special episode.
no, I
of
teased
the
this last
Comedy
week.
Food
I
Truck.
want to talk. Yeah.
That was hypo. That was Pina Colonic. That's hypocolonic.
I was talking last week's episode about
I was talking out of my what?
at the end about talking about my end.
Talking out of my end. You're not getting there. Go ahead. Keep trying.
No, it's okay. I was just talking about how we've been talking a few weeks about culture and stuff, and just the younger. I'm not down on young people. I think it's great, but there's definitely a shift in culture. I don't think it's just get off my lawn kind of observations. I think it's just like things have changed, and I know they always change. So I'm not against change,
Right.
But some changes I don't love as much as others, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say there's some changes I just hate, but one of them is, man, when I was growing up, there were just certain things that girls did and certain things that guys did. And then even if you got, I don't know, if you were dating or if you got married or whatever, there were still things that guys did and there are things that girls did. And now I feel like it's all merging. Like, for instance, when did men have to start going to various showers?
Oh, yeah.
It's co-ed.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Since when? I mean, and I mean, listen, my wife has gone to a lot of those things by herself. 'Cause it's a principle. It's not even like, I don't need to be at a baby shower. I don't need to be at even a wedding shower. A bridal shower, whatever they call it. I don't need all of these crazy, like, they're making up stuff now too,
The gender reveals, is that with the boy?
or like the engagement party. Like,
Yeah.
what is that? An engagement announcement. I'm sorry.
Oh, engagement announcement.
And like, you're gonna go because what? We already got to go to your wedding, and then if you're in the wedding, you got to go to rehearsal. Enough about you. Like, we don't need to be at all these things.
Enough about
Isn't
you.
this ridiculous? I mean,
Make it to the wedding
You
first, and then we'll
you
come.
imagine you standing up there as a groomsman and like the pastor's like mid ceremony, and you're all, enough about then. Can we wrap this up?
right.
I got places to be.
But that's my point. The wedding is
It's
the time
all
about you.
Right, that whole day.
Do we need to do all the extra stuff?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you throw in all the everything else everybody does, like a graduation party and housewarming party and what I'm single again party and all this. I mean, and what? Do it all. I don't care.
Easy.
Enjoy yourself and do it all. But you don't have to invite everybody in the world to this.
And don't be offended if they don't show up.
Well, no, and you know what? It's actually, I don't know. What I've run into mostly is not so much the person, because they probably don't care if I come or not. It's more like the pressure that comes from my wife. Not that she's never puts this kind of pressure on me, but what I'm saying is she feels, because she's very sensitive to, I don't know, like she would say we don't want to offend anybody. So if they invited us and they've gone to all that trouble, we should honor that by coming in. I'm like, they should honor. Well, they should honor the fact that traditionally, this is for the girls. This is not for dudes. It's just not. And then there's so many things. I'm like, I went to one. They were combining parties. Have you done that? Where it's somebody's birthday and an anniversary and a this, and we're all going to do it all at the same time, right? So I went to one. It was like a combination of like a graduation and then like a gender
and a
reveal
funeral
thing. No, just this was like graduation and gender reveal.
Right.
So
Oh wow.
So
What were they, 18?
What's what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking before we go.
Wait a minute.
No, I'm thinking before we go. Like, so you got a kid that's graduating college, I think it was, and you also have. You're pregnant? I mean, that's crazy. Like, you did this again after letting them get to the point of leaving your home? You're going to bring another one in?
Starting over.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Right. And so...
Let's just take this back to the beginning and start from scratch.
But then the crazy thing is when we got there, I saw the kid, and I'm like, okay, there you go. And I said, where's the gender reveal? It's like, the party was for the same kid.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were pregnant, and yeah.
No.
Oh wait.
The kid who was graduating was revealing his gender.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that kind of gender reveal. Gotcha.
When did that change?
That's interesting.
When did that change?
This is awkward.
You know. Right. So I'm like,
Was it Jimothy?
Jimothy
No,
Badfinger.
it was Genmathy. They changed their name.
Jimothy Badfinger. He does some writing for us too, doesn't
does,
he?
yeah. Him and Chippy are the writing tour.
Yeah.
They said he was transitioning. I thought he meant from college to
College to
adulthood.
his career, yeah.
No, that's something totally different.
Okay then.
Wow.
And I was supposed to get him a gift or her.
What do you get?
Stop.
Never mind.
Yeah. Well,
I don't wanna get into
what you're supposed to do when you get invited to one of those is that's what you got your best friend that'll do you a solid.
Yeah.
Okay, this thing starts at 10. At 10:15, you have an emergency.
Yeah.
What? What's up? What's going on? Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta go. Got a buddy in a jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could stay, but
Yeah, no,
no.
that's-
Congratulations. I gotta bounce.
I can't. I just, it's not in me. I can't lie like that. So I just straight tell them, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done.
I'm out.
I'm out. I just
I wanna
offend
go
everybody.
Yeah.
What is this?
For crying out loud.
Dude went to college to find himself and he found someone else. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. So I wanted to touch base a little bit on, I've been on a little bit of a journey for the last few months or whatever, since basically the end of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just made a decision early. I did some research, kind of was really impacted by a couple books and some other things I was listening to about when it comes to you get New Year's resolutions and all this other stuff, and people always make them and then they fail, and then it's there's always these big grandiose goals everyone wants to make, and then about what they're going to do, and then they often don't do them, or even if they do, then it's hard to maintain and blah blah blah. So I was reading, and man, there's been some really great insights that I've received. You guys might be aware of it already, but I received about really how to truly, like, successful people, how they are really successful.
Okay.
And one of the things that came out was that people who are more successful with, if you want to call them goals or whatever else, focus more on who than do. So basically, they think more about who they want to be instead of what they want to do.
Okay.
And then what they do is they actually start with small habits and then let those habits build on one another over time. And so when we see them, we think, man, they're just this amazing person or done these amazing things. And we don't realize, it may have started, whatever, it depends on the thing. But I mean, it could be months ago or weeks ago, or it could be years ago. But it was usually from something small that they just continue to repeat. So there's certain things they just continue to repeat, and then they'll build on them. So it just kind of made me realize, for me, I was always doing goals that had to do with things I wanted to do. I want to lose this weight, or I want to, maybe you want to make a certain amount of money, or maybe you want to, whatever, accomplish this or that. And instead, you end up failing. You end up, for some reason along the way, you just don't stick with it because you're basically basing on willpower. And man, it was really kind of, for me, a big deal to think, man, I'd rather make it about who I'm trying to become, right? Who am I trying to be? So, for instance,
What is it you have been becoming? Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, it's just more like focusing on who you want to be rather than what you want to do. So if it's weight loss, which is one of the things that I wanted to deal with, it was instead of worrying about how much weight you want to lose, just make the decision that I want to be a healthy person. So if I want to be a healthy person, what do healthy people do?
Right.
So now you think about habits that healthy people do, and then you start adding those habits. So it's been kind of a progressive process. So the first thing I started with, for instance, was healthy people are not addicted to sugar. So, I made a decision, day after Christmas, I wasn't going to eat any sugar anymore. Now, when I say that, a lot of foods have natural, probably I should say unnatural refined sugar, things like that. So not sugar on purpose, like
Sugar
cookies,
added.
cookies,
stuff like
candy,
that. Soda,
even even stuff that has to do with you might add sugar. I don't drink coffee, but some people add it to their coffee, things like that. So just trying to avoid that.
Right.
And then so that's what I started. So it's been till today, since December 26th of 2022 till today, it's been no sugar. And then now, just to qualify, if I eat a piece of fruit, there's sugar in fruit, but so the only sugar I have, if there is any, comes from whole foods. So that was another commitment. I'm going to eat whole foods, nothing processed, nothing whatever. And then it even started to become progressive, because from no sugar, then no processed foods. In other words, I didn't start all at one time. I just kind of started to add these things to it. And it's kind of led me to a thing. I started seeing, like everybody else, you see YouTube, you see everything else. And, there's always the debate with keto and there's the American, the American Medical Association diet, low fat.
Yeah.
Low fat, keto. So keto's high fat. The regular American diet is low fat, but high carb. You hear all that about carbs and fat and protein and macros and blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of led me to, through this process. But anyway, at the end of the day, sorry, it's a long setup, but, within the first 3 months or so, about 35 pounds. It's not tremendous, amazing weight loss. There's people who lose that in a month, but
still, that's
not
nothing.
healthy,
That's
though.
nothing to.
well,
Yeah,
that's what I mean. No, I know. I mean,
yeah.
it's semi-significant, but I'm
yeah.
saying it's basically 10 pounds or 12 pounds a month, right? So yeah, it's more on the healthier side, because that's what happens when you do a lifestyle change versus, like a fad diet or something like that.
Right.
But where I found myself more recently, and I'm gonna, maybe in a few weeks I'll give some more details, but has been what I read about first was an elimination diet.
Okay.
So basically, you eliminate everything except some foundational stuff, so that you can then you have to do it for a certain amount of time, because your body has to adjust so you can really see the real results. But then if you want, you can start to reintroduce certain things, right? So one of the things that you deal with is things like being bloated or having inflammation, or even your bowel movements and just your rhythms of that, and then just so many different things that are actually the result of food. And actually what started me on this was, Christmas, day after Christmas. Well, so I guess I made these commitments a couple of days after Christmas, but day after Christmas, I'm in ER, and then I'm in surgery because I was going to die. And it wasn't heart surgery or anything like that, but I have diabetes. So I had to do with diabetes. But the point is that I had an infection that was one of those flesh eating kind of things that if they didn't catch it earlier, if they didn't catch it when they did, you start losing body parts, you could potentially die. There's a point where it gets so far that they can't even save you.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I'm talking, this is within hours or days, not even days, it's more like hours. So just, it's just something you're like, wow. So then just forced to sit for a week in the hospital, recovering, starting that recovery process, and just having a time to go over all this. But at the end of the day, it's kind of so I guess along the lines of a keto, but read some books and all the thing, and it just kind of learned, and this is all of this set up to say this: our American diet for the last, I don't know how many years, 50, 60 years, it's all wrong.
Right.
It's all wrong.
Yeah.
It's literally all wrong. First of all, I found out that diabetes is not irreversible. It's completely reversible.
Yeah.
It's not reversible with medication. In other words, all they can do is manage it with medication.
Right.
But with your diet, you can completely, I don't care how diabetic you are, you can reverse it. I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
But it's all about diet.
Yeah, you can get to where your diabetes goes away.
But you have to cut things that people will tell you you're crazy for cutting.
Right.
In all honesty, literally, if you really want to do it right, and I didn't think this was sustainable, but apparently it is. Like no carbs. So that means some things that people are like. You think about the American diet, they'll tell you like whole grains.
Nope.
You don't need them. They'll tell you high fiber. You don't need it. They tell you low fat. It's the opposite. Your body runs on two sources of fuel, either carbs or fat. Now you have to have, I say good fat, but what I mean is it has to be, can't be processed. Like it can't be fat, there's fat in deep frying food, but you can't, So you have to find essentially, as far as the elimination diet part of it goes, some people call it like a carnivore diet or something like that. Essentially means it's animal products. So it's either you eat and this is funny because vegetarians and vegans and all that, they'll just be like completely, in fact, even in the hospital, they said the only thing they agree on between these different diets is everybody says whole foods. And whole foods just means real food.
Right.
So it's not made up. It's not invented in a chemistry lab. It's not processed. It's not, right. But some of the simple things, like for instance, oatmeal can be processed without you even knowing it. So you got to be careful, right? So the thing is, but all those grains, veggies, fruit, all that stuff, like in a sense, again, there are people who've lived on this for years, but you can reintroduce some of those things. It just depends on who you are as a person. But this idea that everything's supposed to be all these high veggies with all these, there are some superfoods that are no doubt, but, different kinds of superfoods like kale and broccoli and some of those things. But even at that, there's some people who they'll be better off without it.
Yes. I was wondering, you're cutting out a lot of vitamins sources. So do you take a supplement then?
No, because you don't need to. Because if you eat it hardcore, like you're doing it the way the doctors, all that they do it. You don't restrict if you're doing, say, for instance, carnivore or say like this elimination thing. Basically, it's meat, eggs, butter, and salt. And it's kind of crazy. But, obviously there's a lot of salt built into some of the food, but so it's not literally just putting salt on your food. But part of the meat is not just the flesh, which is what we usually eat, but also the organs. So
I was going to say, where do you get like your iron and stuff? But you would find that in
you eat liver.
Yeah, find that in other organs.
And then you eat the liver of of the animal, and then or whatever other organs are available. Different animals, but then also a lot of good stuff's in fish. Because you can do fish. I forgot fish, meat, fish.
Fish
eggs.
is good lean meat.
And then anything an animal can produce. So, but you have to be careful because a lot of
processed. It gets processed.
It can be like just regular. For instance, milk. Most people, they'll tell you what kind of milk you're supposed to get, right?
Oh yeah.
Usually, what?
Scott's an expert. Scott, what kind of milk should we get?
He's muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Cow milk?
Cow milk.
Well, of course. Well, there are different kinds: cow milk, goat milk. There's different, but you're right. But
Pig milk.
But with cow milk, when you walk in. Right. When you walk into the store, most of the time what they'll tell you to get away from or to buy if you're going to do milk. Well, first of all, there's like almond milk, right? Or some of that
silk.
They don't even want you around cow milk. But then if you are around cow milk, what do they typically tell you to
2%.
get? Right.
Yeah.
Like a low fat, right? 2%. Why, if you can handle it,
Blue milk.
go non-fat.
Blue milk.
Right. But the reality is
like
the best milk is actually D, which is higher fat. But
we drink vitamin D whole milk,
But that is a very highly processed milk with a lot of sugar in it.
Right, and vitamins are added to it.
There are places you can get,
well, they add lactose to it, right? That's how they
add lactose and everything. But there are places you can get a more natural, better milk. But my point is it is still something that an animal produces. So they they allow some of that. So like cheese, there's some great cheeses out there that you can get, but then, and I hate this because I usually still eat a little bit of this, but they tell you the American cheese because it's processed. It even says it on there. It's processed, cheese. So anyway, the point is, for me at least, what's been cool, and I know it's not our normal like super hilarious show, but inflammation, all my markers, my blood sugar, my blood pressure, all this stuff. Like in just the first 2 weeks of being on the meat only thing, I lost like 9 pounds. That was just in 2 weeks.
And that could be just your body shedding, just bloated, just stuff. It might
Some of it.
not even be fat. It might just be you're kind of
No, it's actually not fat.
your system's kind of purging itself of just
Water,
crud.
whatever else.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, actually, I take it back. It is fat. Actually,
okay.
it is. No, it is, because when you eat the fat and then you eat the protein, that's the secret sauce that people don't know, but it's a new thing. It's a newish thing. It's not that new because people were talking about this 50 years ago. I mean, remember the Atkins diet and some of that.
Yeah.
So there were some doctors that were posing some of this even 40, 50 years ago. But the scientific community, nutritional science, all that's starting to catch up now more than it was, especially in regards to autoimmune diseases and things like diabetes and even cancer research and all that. All the most harsh things that people can get. Like, I don't know if any of it's not related to our diet. That's how crazy it is. Morbid obesity, all of it. And it's all around this idea that somewhere along the way, and they had a misunderstanding. I don't know all the science. I was just watching some more stuff today, so I can't tell you the exact science. But I know that the thinking that was wrong had to do with the impact of sugar on our bodies as well as the impact of carbs.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of the sort of somewhere along the way, and I can't remember the specific truth that people say that has to do with carbs, that was so mainstream, it became mainstream. I'm sorry, it wasn't probably back around the 50s, 40s, 50s, something like that. Somewhere between the 60s and 70s, somewhere in there, this became mainstream. And that's exactly when you can start charting, in America at least, the obesity issues, the diabetes issues, and all that that became bigger. And they got it into the food industry. And so then basically, and a lot of it was pushed by food makers, cereal makers, all that kind of stuff.
Sugar industry.
Yes. And so they were making millions and billions of dollars. So they've basically got them at one point, sort of the medical community on their side, so that even in commercials, all these other things, and basically convinced everybody to eat a low fat, high carb diet.
Yeah. Instead, you need to flip the pyramid over.
And it started killing people.
Yeah.
And now we're, obviously 30, 40 years later, because it takes time, because you can handle that stuff when you're young, but it breaks your body down. So that's why so many people, they talk about adult onset diabetes, all that.
Yeah.
It's usually around their 40s or so. Well, that's because you've been eating for 25, 30 years this terrible way, and it's just caught up to you. But the amazing thing is it reverses so quickly when you begin to eat the correct way. So again, high protein, high fat, because your body can only run on carbs or fat. So you get rid of the carbs, and you teach your body how to live on fat. And there's so many benefits that come from it. So anyway, so it really, I know there's people in the chat or in the comments, I'm sorry, can disagree, and they might want to tell me I'm crazy, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan,
You're already crazy.
So, I mean, they're both the same thing. It's just a vegan is a snobby vegetarian, but they're going to be convinced. I mean, I had a conversation, even the church got into this because they wrote that book, The Daniel Plan. Everybody's you're supposed to eat all this.
I do grasshoppers and honey.
Yeah. So the thing is it's minimum. Obviously the best way is whole foods with if it doesn't grow out of the ground, whatever. But honestly, and I hate it because I do actually love fruit. I love veggies. There's a lot of veggies I like. There's a lot of things like that. But I stopped. I mean, for a while, I might reintroduce some things, but it's just the results are ridiculous. The weight loss, the lack of inflammation, the vital signs that all changed, so many things were all helpful. And it's, I mean, I still have a long way to go. That's the thing. I mean, I was, 100 pounds probably overweight. So losing 30 is great, but I mean, it's still 60, 70 pounds to go.
Sure.
Man, I already feel better. So I can't imagine the next 30.
Right.
And then the 30 after that, because I'm already feeling better, and then the other thing, so it's kind of three things. It's like eating right, sleeping right, which means sleeping pretty consistently. That's the other thing. I need less sleep to get me through. It's so crazy. I'm not tired all the time. I'm not crashing all the time.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot. Yeah.
And then the last thing is like some weight training, not cardio, but weight training.
Weight training, yeah.
Cardio is definitely helpful, but it's more helpful for like what I would call like getting in shape, getting your wind, all that. But it doesn't help you lose weight.
Right.
Weight training though does, because as you strengthen your muscle, then obviously it's burning all the time. There's just a lot of benefits there. So that's how I know when you're doing the high fat and high protein plan, you are losing fat. You're losing body fat. You're not losing muscle because the protein's feeding the muscle. The body's learning to run on the fat instead of the carbs. You go into this ketosis thing they always talk about, and basically you're able to just continue to generate fuel and generate, and it also rids your body of all the toxins that come from all the extra stored sugar. So it's it's a lot to it, but it's been pretty amazing, and it sounds crazy. I mean, some people brag, "Oh, you're breaking it." Okay, you guys, I mean, it's not that that's totally untrue. It's just, it's really actually crazy because this is where the two camps are. It's that red meat, man. It could be cow. It could be. I know some people like oxen meat. Yeah, oxen
meat, venison,
and then,
deer meat,
buffalo.
elk meat,
buffalo. That was it. Buffalo.
Yeah.
It's all that. And I forget the name they call the certain kind of animals, but they're basically
anything that gives birth to a calf.
right. But it has to do with
Giraffes.
also the way it has to do with the way they process their own food, like when they eat and how they process their food.
Right.
I can't remember. There's a name for it, but anyway. But then also any seafood, and then you can still eat chickens and pigs and all that. But I'm just saying, most of it's more of the other stuff. But it's but the eggs, because obviously. An egg is just a chicken.
Right.
So, but in a concentrated form, clearly. So, you could also eat other eggs, obviously, from other animals. But you know my point. So it's been amazing, man. It's been a journey.
Good for you, man.
I know. Well, the only thing I would say is, man, the first 2 weeks,
Were you a raging maniac?
man, I think it was Joe Rogan or somebody said it was like, he tried it for 30 days. And then he said something like, it was like I had a volcano in my bum, and I mean it was like lava coming out. It was crazy because your body is kicking out
Lava.
like literally like bile and just all kinds of stuff,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's happening all the time. And you think you're dying, and then literally within some people 7 or 8 days, all the way up to maybe 14 days, everything starts to regulate again,
That's crazy.
and then. You go like once every 2 or 3 days
What?
because your body's using everything.
Makes sense, yeah.
You don't have much to waste.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's like hot lava.
It's pooforic.
Yeah. Hey, it's like a Miriam. It's like a Miriam. It's like, hey, listen, it's like a girl named Miriam who is super afraid because she got the screaming Mimi.
If when you throw up, it comes out your mouth, I was definitely throwing down.
That's funny. Yeah, it's bad. But I'm not trying to convert anybody, but for me it's been a huge difference.
And that's the way you got to do it. Whatever works for you. Who cares what anybody else says? Everybody's different. So
It is,
You
and
can't
it's
argue
true.
with 30 pounds, man.
But some things are the same, though, and so that's
Yeah.
the one thing I would say is the science of it is you got to get rid of the carbs, man. It's you don't need them. You think you do, and you've been taught that, but you don't. And really, it took me a while. Like, how can you do even the whole idea of trans fats and all that? The kinds of fat. Obviously, you can't just take scoops of lard and just eat them. But I'm saying like,
Can't?
right?
Dang it.
These what is it?
Like a bowl of ice cream.
Yeah, deep fried butter and all that. You have to get the purest versions of these things, and then but meaning the whole version of it's not processed. So, but man, I'm telling you, it's a huge difference, and it's crazy. It's crazy for me to look and think, man, I get the protein part, like 150 grams, sometimes 180, 200 grams of protein, but then that many grams of fat too. So it's like, it's hard for me at times. Like, what?
Yeah.
But it's natural. Like if so for instance, you stay away from lean cuts of meat, which is what you've been taught to do. Because actually lean protein gets turned into sugar in your body because
There's no fat.
Yeah, because there's no fat to offset it. It's like your body, somehow the way the body processes it, you don't get what you think you're getting. And then you have a limit, and then but when you balance it with fat, so instead of the lean cut of steak, you get the ribeye.
Right.
And it's that kind of stuff. So anyway,
higher
it's
percentages.
just, you have to do all that, or else. So that's why, by the way, these guys who are pounding all these protein shakes, there's no fat to offset it. they're actually doing their body. They're drinking sugar drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually drinking sugar.
So your body,
drinks.
what, just overproduces insulin to offset it, is what it's doing.
Basically, sort of, and then it ends up in the liver, and it's really weird. All the pancreas, there's all kinds of pancreas, the liver, the kidneys. They're all involved. But I mean, it's
They're all working.
It's all it's just anyway terrible. I don't know. It was kind of a weird topic, but
Science.
yeah. But I mean, I want to. I don't have a social media where I post in pictures and doing all that, but I think maybe in another month or two, I'll update some progress. My hope is to. Again, I just want to be healthy. Whatever that means I weigh, whatever weight I lose, whatever, I don't care. I mean, I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like, the goal is not that. The goal is more just to be healthy.
Yeah.
And like I said, I want to reintroduce some things, I think, eventually, but for right now.
Yeah.
Well, and if you look at it this way, you could lose 100 pounds and still be unhealthy.
Right.
As opposed to, like you said, you just want to be healthy.
Right.
At whatever weight that happens to be at, you don't really care, because just because you lose 100 pounds doesn't make you going to be a healthy person.
No, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, you're trying to be healthy, and losing weight is a bonus. That's a byproduct of that, a side effect of that.
Yeah, it's just where your body's going to take you, because it has to. Eventually, it has to burn off. I mean, if you're doing it right, it'll burn off the excess fat, which is what most people, when they say they're trying to lose weight. Sorry, it's stored fat. They're just trying to get rid.
Yep.
But I was really more interested in, my blood pressure was average of 145 to 160 on the top number to like 90 to 100. I mean, just the other day, this morning, it was like 117 over 75.
Wow.
And that's after 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
of doing this. So that's a quick turnaround. And it's just because I'm not pounding crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been slowly coming down. It's not like I shouldn't say it went from that to that in 1-2 weeks. It went to like the top number. If I just followed that, we went from like 150 or so, 160 even, to like 140, 145 to 130, to 125, so it's been coming down, but yeah. And I know the weight loss plays a role too, but it's kind of, in the sugars, I was in the 200s sometimes, and now it's like, 120, 110.
Wow.
So it's been an amazing
50%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been an amazing difference. So,
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your journey, man.
Yeah, I know. It's a little therapeutic. It's a long show.
Yeah.
People are like probably long stopped.
We're gonna hold you
listening,
to it, man. We're gonna be checking in on you.
Oh, it's not gonna be a problem, man. This is. I do not want to go back. I just. It's It's.
Well, when you have an experience like you did in December, it's kind of a wake up call for most people. But
yeah. And it was, but it was more. People have said that, like, wow, would you? I wasn't scared. I was embarrassed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew better.
I've been there.
I knew better. It wasn't. I can't plead ignorance. I knew.
Yeah.
I just
didn't do anything about it.
Just too arrogant to think that that doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does. And so for I'm not somebody who grew up with weight issues. So but I definitely grew up with an eating disorder, in the sense that I always pounded a lot of food.
Right.
But I just played enough ball, throughout. But I never really exercised or worked out just to do that. In other words, I never was attentive to being healthy. I was just attentive to
being active,
being able to to do that. So it catches up. So
Sure
20 to 25 years of just abusing your body. This is what happens. Yeah. So I'd love to say I was scared, but I was. I mean, to a certain extent. But what I mean is, it was just embarrassing.
Yeah.
I know better. I don't have an excuse like some people might. Yeah. These kids today are being raised without any, again, coping skills. They're being taught dumb things. So because their parents are doing it, and they probably were taught that way. I made myself dumb.
Yeah.
I didn't follow what I knew was right. So anyhow, whatever.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. It's a long show.
It's cool.
Nice steak, Scott.
All right. Yeah, great image. I wish the audience could see those images because they're great. Yeah. And if I'd get them baked potatoes and just give me the butter and keep the potato, that'd be great.
I'm looking at the little chives on there.
Yeah. Looks good.
Man.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Ooh, there we go.
Well, let's end the show before we go to the next episode.
Okay.
Scott's telling
meaning
me.
We've got probably 2 episodes here, but thank you guys for listening. Thanks for all your comments that I know you're putting in the comment sections, and I don't even have an idea.
That's all right. Thank you guys.
If you have questions, you want some input, some details, hit us up. We'll be happy to help you. We'll list it all in the show notes. Here's my show notes. All right, cool. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, see you guys.
Bye. Yeah, cheerio.